host, Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. I was thinking about the coaching staff again. And I wasn't thinking about Joe Judge this time. I was thinking about the coordinators. And the one person that I was thinking about right away was Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett. A lot of people had an issue with him coming over to the Giants. I never really did. I thought he was going to be an interesting coordinator. I was not interested in him as a head coach, but not for reasons that other people would think. I won't get into my reasons why I didn't want him. But when he came in as the coordinator, I had no problem with that. I thought that it would be a good fit, especially with Joe Judge. But my concern always is, with someone like Jason Garrett, is he going to be one and done with the Giants? And honestly, I think that he is going to be one and done. I think that he is going to use the Giants job as a leapfrog into another position, and maybe another position as a head coach in either college or in either the NFL. Now, I'm not saying, I do not know any inside information. I don't even know Jason Garrett. But if you take a look at his pedigree, it kind of leads you to believe that in some regards, he's taking a step back, of course, as an offensive coordinator, but he's doing it to reinvent himself. Now, Garrett, of course, was with the Giants in 2000. He signed to back up Kerry Collins. He was released on a salary cap move in 2012, and he went on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Blah 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 blah. Then he retired, and he became over the quarterback coach over the Dolphins, and actually under Nick Saban, of course. Nick Saban. I've been saying Nick Saban's name a lot. And then he took the offensive coordinator job in 2007 with the Cowboys. And he guided the Cowboys that year to the second best offense in the entire NFL. Now, that made him a very attractive coaching prospect, but he didn't get any offers. I mean, I believe he interviewed with the Atlanta Falcons and the Baltimore Ravens, and then he kind of just opted to stay in Dallas. And Jerry Jones, of course, threw $3 million at him, making the highest salary for an assistant coach in the NFL at that point in time. And then, during his career, he also spoke with the Detroit Lions, and also he interviewed with the Denver Broncos when Shanahan got fired. And he was a finalist over in St. Louis, people seem to forget, but Spags got that job. So, he was biding his time. And then in November, of course, of 2010, he was named the interim head coach when Wade Phillips got fired. And Wade Phillips that season was 1-7. Now, what happened after that is, of course, Garrett led the Cowboys to a 5-3 season, and then he had 3 consecutive years of 8-8. Now, those 8-8 seasons, of course, 2011 was the Giants' Super Bowl. But if you take a look at the NFC East outside of Washington, that is when the NFC East was extremely competitive. When the Eagles, the Giants, and the Eagles and the Giants and the Cowboys were very competitive in those 3 years. So, I believe he also lost at the last. I think he also lost the last game of the season 3 times in those 3 years and knocked himself out of the playoffs. But then he kind of put it together in 2014. He had a 12-4 season with, of course, the Cowboys. And he proved that he was an NFL head coach. He won his first playoffs game, and he lost to Green Bay in the NFC divisional game. And then he had a bad season in 15. He had a 4-12 season. But what I like about what happened in 15 going into 16, he showed that he had the fortitude to turn around the Cowboys. So he took a 12-4 team into next year. In 16, he was 13-3, and he was the NFL Coach of the Year. And then again, he lost to the Green Bay Packers in the NFC divisional game. And then, of course, in 2017, he had the 9-7 season. Then he went 10-6, made it back in the playoffs. He lost to the Rams. And then he had last year where it was kind of it was just kind of a bad situation. He had the most talented team in the NFC East, but he finished second to the Eagles. Now, and then of course he got canned after that. But one of the other things that I like to talk about, Garrett seems to always have the ability to bounce back. In 2018, everyone was calling for him to be fired. He was 3-5 at the bye week. And then after that, they won 7 of the last 8 games to clinch the NFC East. I mean, that's and like I said, then he took a team that when 2015 was 4-12 and took him to 13-3. So if you look at Garrett's record, he was 85-67. Now his playoff wins are not that spectacular. He has 2 playoff wins and 3 playoff losses. But he was around an organization that has Jerry Jones in charge. Jerry Jones is the consummate, I can't talk today, a consummate person that will sit there and he will basically just meddle. He is the consummate meddler. We'll call him the meddler. Jerry Jones, that's his new superhero name. He's the meddler. And for anyone to put up with Jerry Jones for as long as Jason Garrett did, it to me is amazing. And again, to me, it shows intestinal fortitude that he is head coaching material. Now, people look at his record and go, we can't win in the playoffs. There's a lot of coaches that they said can't win in the playoffs. Tony Dungy, at one point, was told that he can't win in the playoffs. Peyton Manning, of course not a coach, but a player, couldn't win the playoff game. So the thing is, you know what? You can't win in the playoffs until you go on that run. And once you go on that run and then you win a couple playoff games, then all of a sudden your record turns around and people are like, well, he's a good postseason guy. So what Jason Garrett shows me with his career resume with Dallas is that he has the ability to adapt, and he has the ability to, you got to feel sorry for the guy in some ways. He takes so much heat and so much crap from the media, from fans, calling him the clapper. I don't call him that, because of the fact that I didn't think it was respectful. A guy claps, a guy gets excited, who cares? But you know what? He was able to withstand all the slings and arrows that were taken on. He was taken on in reference to the media, to his own players, to his own coachings. To his own owner. And he was able to push that aside and compile an 85-67 record. Now, like I said, he has not called offensive plays in over 5 years. And that's worries me a little bit in reference to what kind of offense we're going to run. We'll figure out that a little bit more in training camp. Is he going to go back to the Air Coryell style that he ran early in his career? Or what is he going to do? Because like I said, you don't call your plays for 5 years. We really can't say, well, this is his offensive style. So to me, like I said, he is what Joe Judge says he's going to be. Garrett was the CEO. He left his offense to his offense coordinator, his defense to his defense coordinator, and he oversaw the whole thing. Now he's going to be in charge of everything. Now it's a little different when you were the CEO and you stepped down, let's say, to, the CFO. You still have that ability that you want to run everything, but now you only have limited power. And I think he is going to take this job. I think he's going to try to turn around the Giant offense. Or I shouldn't even say the Giant offense, because the Giant offense wasn't that bad last year. But I think he is going to help excel Daniel Jones. I really can't talk. I really can't talk today. It's my allergy medicine. If anyone has allergies, then that was the worst time. But I think he's going to take Daniel Jones and he's going to try to push his career forward. And I think what he's going to do is he's going to take the offense, maybe try to move it into the top 15, and take that top 15 finish and look at the rest of the NFL, because there's going to be a lot of coaches on the hot seat this year. And he's going to take that, he's going to take that resume and his pedigree and say, okay, listen, I was the coach of the Cowboys. I took the offense for this, such and such. We did this. I'm going to get back into head coaching. And that's kind of the direction that I think he is going to go in. And that's not a bad thing. Like I said, he's just using the Giants as a springboard. And that's pretty smart if you think about it. Now, it's going to be bad if he does that, because it's going to ruin the continuity of Daniel Jones, and hopefully he's going to have some assistants under him that will keep the same offense in place. Because technically with Daniel Jones, this will be his third new offense in 3 years going back to Duke. So, it's gonna be interesting. But like I said, I see Joe Judge moving on at the end of the season, or trying to move on. Joe Judge, I'm sorry. I see Jason Garrett, trying to move on and get another head coaching position. And I think, like I said, I think some ways he's earned that respect. Because if you go way back to Pat Shurmur in his first tenure in Cleveland, or his tenure in Cleveland, he got that job off a 7-9 season with the St. Louis Rams and Spagnuolo. Why do we have the music come in sometimes when I'm not even ready? I do not know. We're gonna cross that out again. But he had, like I said, he only had a mid-level offense. That Pat Shurmur, that is, that year in St. Louis, and it was only his first year as a coordinator, and he was able to parlay that into a head coaching job with the Cleveland Browns. So if Pat Shurmur can do that, and Pat Shurmur can get another opportunity to coach an NFL team, Jason Garrett deserves the same shot, and I think he's going to take it. And I would not also be shocked that if he went off to college and took a head coaching job there. So again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And you can follow us now, of course, on Twitter at OnlineBigBlue1. Or you could just drop us an email at onlinebigblue@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. I never really thought about giving out an email address, but ever since we've been getting a lot of emails, and it's been kind of interesting communicating with some of the people that watch, and just getting your thoughts outside the channel, which I think is pretty cool. So again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you can if you can subscribe, if you can ring that bell, I think you know what it means. That would be awesome.